As the cup says, Happy Bon Saint Jean. Today is a holiday here in Quebec, and I'm at home. And what else am I gonna do but catch up on some gardening here? This part of the garden is out of control. This used to all be tomatoes and some marigolds. However, this year I put the tomatoes somewhere else because there's something in the soil and it was causing the tomato leaves to get spots. So I'm going to give the tomatoes a break from this section of the garden for a couple of years and try different things. So this year we've got a bit of a mishmash. I have some beans that I planted that will hopefully grow onto the branches, but they didn't pop up everywhere, just a few plants. I have marigolds at different stages and volunteer tomato plant, some dill. These are weeds, well, edible weeds, and I might keep those. Those are edible purslane. You can look at my other video because it looks a lot like a weed called spurge, and I did a video showing the difference between the two. This is the edible purslane. So we have some more beets, marigolds and beets, and a few weeds. And over here I have calendula, and they're just about to bloom. They're beautiful bright orange. Some nasturtiums mixed with weeds. A huge thing of grapevines. And some raspberry canes. And then, ooh, around here we have peppers and some herbs and some volunteer herbs and some basil and I can't even pronounce this, but it's a mushroom plant. And I haven't tried it yet, but apparently I think the leaves maybe taste like mushrooms. I still need to look that up. I haven't had time. And this is the first year I'm getting berries on this. It has never had berries before, but I think they may be gooseberries, but I've never tried them, so I still don't know. They could be a currant, but the berry looks too big to be a currant, so we'll see. They're still pretty hard. I tried to eat one today, but they're very, very tough, so they still need to ripen a little bit. Oh, yeah, and we have my rhubarb that's in full sun in good soil, and I'm curious to see how this does. It seems to have shorter stalks than the rhubarb I have in part sun, so we'll see. But the leaves are, you know, that's my hand. They're pretty big. So yeah, today I'm gonna try to tidy up the pathway. There are some little bitty strawberries that the birds haven't found yet. These were all in the garden, but they took over and covered everything, so I couldn't grow any beans or flowers, or so I did take them out of the garden and left them on the pathway. I don't mind them here, but I might take a few out today just to try to level things off a bit. but what I really want to get are the weeds that are going to flower or have already gone to flower and are at seed. There don't seem to be too many of those, but I want to get some of those weeds out so that the plants get more nutrients. And down at that end, I'm gonna plant some more beets so that it's a staggered growth and I'll get beets at different times. So I started those maybe a month and a half ago, and I will have new ones a month and a half after I have the first round, so a little spread out. So anyway, I'm gonna get started. When I was growing these in the winter, I was also growing cosmos, and these are marigolds. And when it came time to plant them, they had a very similar leaf, and I wasn't sure which one was which. I did know a few of which I labeled a few pots, not all my pots, a few of the pots, and I knew that the leaves like this were marigolds, and like I said, the other ones were similar, but when I looked really closely, these ones had a jagged edge, and the cosmos had more of a softer lobe. So if you see the difference, these ones are jagged and these ones are more round. But now I'm wondering if this is ragweed or if it's a cosmo that blew into the garden from last year. So I'm gonna have to go over to the other garden to see if I have cosmos, or if cosmos look like this, or if this is gonna be ragweed. So these are my cosmos. I know that because I had a whole bunch and they all went to seed. So you can see sort of how the leaves are a little bit similar. So I'm gonna have to weed an edge over here too. But like I said, the whippersnipper's broken, so I haven't been able to edge along here in like a month. So I gotta do something about it. But now I know the leaves, so I know the other one's gonna be ragweed and I can pull it out. So the marigolds are like jagged here. So you can see they're similar but not identical. So anything that looks like this, I know is going to be a weed. So, you know, sometimes we have to move slowly and find answers. So So these guys are strawberry spinach. I planted them maybe 3 years ago, and they grow to be about 1.5 feet, and they get long, beautiful strands of these little tiny berries that are about the size of those little strawberries I showed you before, but they're all seed. They don't have any juice. They're just like a crunchy ball of seeds. They're really not good. The leaves are edible. It tastes a little bit like spinach, but I would rather grow something else than this. But the seeds have reseeded and reseeded. I haven't planted it in 4 years and they're still popping up. But like, if you wanted to grow this sort of as an ornamental edible plant in your garden, then it's beautiful, and the berries are very, very pretty when they're out. But for a plant that I'm going to consume and I'm going to use my garden space for, I'd rather grow something different than this and give that real estate to a better producing plant than this. But you know, I'm usually open to any kind of volunteer, but I will take these out. The weather today has been so mixed up. It started off damp and cold and a bit humid this morning, and it stayed like that, and then the sun came out and it's steaming hot. The humidity is so thick in the air, it's hard to breathe a bit. Ouch. My hair's stuck. Ouch. Oh my god! So we just found a little toad. He's pretty cute. Just scared the bejesus out of me. Good lord. You is cute. Hello. Hello, little friend. I'm gonna leave you there. Are you the one who's eating all my plants? Hello, cutie patootie. Grr, I just pulled out an nasturtium that I didn't mean to pull out, but there's so many weeds. Oh, there's always a few casualties in gardening. I always try to keep it to a minimum, but that's what happens sometimes. So this plant here is mallow, and a long, long time ago, they used to make marshmallows from this. It gets, when you break it, there's a sticky substance. When you break it, there's a sticky substance, and it helps to create the paste for a marshmallow. So I would have to look up exactly how they do it, but I know it's this plant. So that's pretty cool. I guess I can leave it. Sometimes they get a little bit invasive, but there's not much that it's gonna disturb, and it's kind of pretty. And I like to encourage plants that pop up, so I will probably keep this one and try to just get rid of the dandelions and some of the other weeds. But geez, the sun is out and it's really, really muggy. It's really, really humid. The air is so thick. The day started off so much cooler. I was in jogging pants and a sweatshirt, and oh, the day has changed. So I'll get back to it. So I just want to tie up the raspberries and maybe cut a bit more of this vine so that the raspberries get as much exposure as possible. And then it'll just be the pathway down here, which is a little wonky, but keeps your feet free of mud, and it's rustic. So I have the seeds ready. I'll add some of these down along the middle here, and hopefully they'll grow and not get eaten like some of the other things. I decided I only wanted to have things planted down one side, or growing down one side. I don't want to have the pathway too crowded, so I'm going to remove everything on this side. So that looks better. Now I'm gonna plant some of these beets and carrots. Oh, our toad friend is still here. Hello, friend. The seeds look like this. Whoop. So they're not really smooth or anything. They're kind of spiky. So hopefully these will germinate and grow into little beets. I think I will come plant some of the red ones in here. They look exactly like the yellow seeds, so. So that's planted. Not sure where I want to put the carrots. I'm a little bit hot and my brain's not firing as quick as it should be. Maybe I'll try some carrots along in the front here where the marigolds are. Just see what happens. This garden's kind of a experiment this year. I'm just trying different things, see what grows, trying them at different times of the season. I don't know if you can see this little guy, but he's a tiny little grasshopper. Hello, little buddy. He's little, but he can jump far. So yeah, I think I'll put some carrots along in the front, and if they take, they take, and if not, that's okay too. I hope that the beets take though, those would be good. I love beets. But even here something's eating the leaves. With carrot seeds, you don't need to bury them very deep. They just need a dusting of earth over top. And sometimes you can get away with just sprinkling them on and watering if the soil's been turned up, so it'll sort of settle and cover the seeds. The beet seeds needed to go a little bit deeper because they're a little bit bigger, but the general rule of thumb is to plant the seed as deep as it is big. So the carrot seeds were very, very tiny and thin, and so they just need a dusting. But as you saw, the beet seeds were smaller than peas but bigger than carrots, so they needed to go in just a little bit. So I pushed them in and just sort of dusted them over with some earth, and a little bit more will fall on it, but not too much, and then they'll pop up as they have here. So anyway, that all looks good. Don't know if our friend Toad is still there. Yeah, there's Mr. Toad. He's sitting on my beet plant. So I just want to be careful because the last job I want to do today is mow the lawn, and I want to make sure that Mr. Toad's in the garden, not in the grass when I'm in this area. So anyway, we'll see how this all grows in